Welcome to the Weekly Well. This week, I want to look at 1 Samuel chapter 17. And there we have the story of David and Goliath. And I know it's a familiar story for many of us, but I want to look at a specific aspect of it today. David, of course, shows up at the camp to see his brothers and to give them some food. And he hears Goliath, the Philistine giant, taunting and mocking God and mocking and taunting the Israelites. David is troubled by this. And so he says to the people there that he will go out and fight this giant. Of course, he's kind of laughed at because he's young. He's not a soldier in any way. He's just a shepherd. But Saul takes him up on it. And Saul said, okay, if you're going to go out there, here's my armor. And he gives him all this stuff. David puts it on and it's like, I can't go out in these. They don't fit and I'm not used to them, he says. So he goes out to face the giant with two things, we're told, his staff and his sling. A staff and a sling were two things that shepherds always used. And I find it interesting that David goes out to face this giant with the things that he's already used to, that he's already good with and good at. God has already equipped him to deal with the giant. It's amazing. In my own life, I wonder how often do I think I need something else from God in order to deal with the circumstances that I have? Am I equipped to deal with the things that God has placed in my path or to do the ministry that he's called me to do? The reality is, God has equipped you. He's equipped each one of us with a specific set of things that we know how to do, and he expects those will be the things that we use for ministry and to glorify him and his name. So David goes out against Goliath with nothing more than a staff and his sling, picks up five smooth stones, we're told, and yet clearly he only needs one. He sends the stone toward Goliath, hits him in the forehead. It says it sinks deep into his forehead, and Goliath falls down dead on the ground. I understand that while David may have been very well equipped to use that sling, and he was effective with it, but I know that God also guided that stone. God will use the things that we already know, that we already have, the skills we already possess to use us for his glory and for ministry. But David also went out recognizing that God was the one who would have this victory. The victory was God's, not David's. It was going to be God who empowered him to do what he needed to do. Those two things are powerful in our lives as we recognize God has equipped us. He's gifted us for certain things. As we rely on God, as we go out in his power, he will use the things that we already possess and already know to win the day for him. May that encourage you today. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.